Welcome, everybody, to the Fretboard Journal's 500th episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for all the letters and voice memos you all sent me. I decided to save those for another day. It was a little overwhelming, and I decided to do something from the heart for our 500th episode. I wanted to interview the musician you hear at the beginning of every Fretboard Journal podcast, as well as a musician we interviewed back in our earliest days of pioneering guitar podcasting, Jon Rauhouse. Jon is obviously the person who plays Homie's Parade at the beginning and end of every Fretboard Journal podcast. He's also just an incredible human being and stellar musician. He's played with Neko Case and Billy Bob Thornton and all sorts of other great musicians. And I just wanted to capture his story as best as possible. Jon's had quite a journey health-wise over the last few years, and we touch upon that. And it's just a great episode. I hope you enjoy it. I want to thank everybody for tuning in to the Fretboard Journal podcast over the years. Please keep the feedback coming. This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. Traditional in-person therapy can cost anywhere from $100 to $250 per session. It adds up fast, but with BetterHelp online therapy, you can save on average up to 50% per session. With online therapy, you get quality care at a price that makes sense, and you can get help with anything from anxiety to everyday stress. Plus, you can switch therapists at any time, which is pretty amazing. Your well-being is worth it. Visit betterhelp.com/fret to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/fret. We are also brought to you by Mike and Mike's Guitar Bar right here in Seattle, Washington. Stringjoy Strings. Use the discount code Fretboard when you check out. You'll get 10% off your first order of acoustic or electric guitar strings. They also have banjo and mandolin strings. The discount code works for those too. And last but definitely not least, Peghead Nation, the place to go learn how to be a better acoustic musician, whether you're trying to be a bluegrass player, a jazz player, or all points in between. So many of my favorite instructors are working there. And I can't thank all our sponsors enough. I can't thank all our listeners enough. This is my 500th episode, and we've got the musician Jon Rauhouse on it. Thanks again for tuning in. Jon Rauhouse, welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on this episode and having me. I was on the first one, right?
You were in the first one, and technically you're on every episode because everyone hears your intro music, Homie's Parade, whenever they tune into the Fretboard Journal podcast.
Yeah, that's very kind of you that you use that. I love that. That's great. I've had a lot of comments on that. They're like, dude, I heard you on the Fretboard Journal. I'm like, well, I was only on, the music. I'm like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, you were, so to give the backstory, and if anyone is listening to this, please don't go try to seek this out, but in April of 2009, when it was the Wild West of podcasting, we decided to start a podcast, and we used this horrible platform that sounded atrocious. Mm-hmm. I'm sure our interview was fun and great, because they always are, but the audio quality was horrible, but you were our first guinea pig. And so I figured for our 500th episode, let's bring you back in the magic of hi-fi.
Yes, exactly. You can actually hear how I really sound. I sound like Robert Goulet. No, that's awesome, man. That's a lot of episodes. You guys have been hanging in there, man. That's great.
It's been a journey. A lot of people have, many years have passed, obviously, since this podcast began, and it's to everyone who's tuned in, like, thank you. Like, hope it's carried you through some good and bad times. I don't know.
Yeah. That's awesome, man.
So, cool. Jon, you are, I think, best known as the pedal steel player on those, I guess we can call them now, classic Neko Case records. You've also played with Billy Bob Thornton and a whole bunch of other people.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I just interviewed the woman who made the dulcimer for Joni Mitchell. And it reminded me how little I knew about the dulcimer, but I don't know a whole lot about the pedal steel. So how does a guitarist, I'm assuming you were a guitarist and other instrumentalist before you took up pedal steel.
I was a banjo player.
Okay.
So I had the finger picking style down of a Scruggs style banjo. And I saw this gentleman named Michael Hardwick playing steel guitar in town here, which was in the late 70s, early 80s. And yeah, I was just completely enamored with it. He was pretty good. And he ended up playing with Jerry Jeff Walker and uh, Jimmy Dale Gilmore and all these people. And so, but we became friends. I talked to him the other day, actually. And he's still doing good. But I figured I had the right hand down. So I just would sit and watch him and realized what he was doing with his feet and his knees and how he was playing slide and stuff. So I thought, I should give this a try. And at that point in my life, I was drinking rather heavily. So when I would play it, I thought I was great.
Okay.
Like, oh, hey, I got that. Who knows? It's the benefit of being in an age where everybody didn't have a recorder or a camera on their phone. So none of that exists out there. I would just bring it to shows. We had a bluegrass band that we were starting to try and play a little more country rock. So I would bring it to shows and play it, and I just kept playing it, and it ended up being my main thing.
Yeah.
So it's yeah.
You make it sound easy and maybe fueled by alcohol it was, but
That's what I'm saying is the only reason I stayed stuck with it was because I thought I was really good. And I don't know. I really don't know. But it was a time too when you could like crash on somebody's couch, play gigs during the week, and you had enough money to live. So I would do that. And, we'd eat from happy hour to happy hour to happy hour, so we weren't spending a lot of money on food, mostly on, booze and guitar strings and just playing gigs.
Do you remember what year you actually decided to be a pedal steel player?
I bought mine in the first one I bought, which is a student model ZB. I bought that, I think, 79, 1977, late 78, 79. And then it was a 3-pedal and 1 knee lever guitar. And I soon realized that it didn't have enough. I needed those other knee levers. So, but I couldn't find one in Arizona. I had to go to Los Angeles to get it. And flew to Los Angeles, found the guitar that I play now all the time, Fabiola. And I found it there, and I've been playing it ever since.
Did it have a storied history of some LA session country artist or something?
I don't believe so. There was a store on Ventura Boulevard, and I wish I could remember the name of it. They had probably 20, 25 pedal steels in there. And I couldn't find any here in Phoenix. The student model I got was up in Flagstaff. And I couldn't find anybody teaching here. I knew a couple of dudes played. Mike played, but he was playing too much to teach. And then another fellow named Kenny Skaggs, who ended up playing with Glenn Campbell for 20 years. He taught me how to tune it. But I had to use records and pick the needle up and put it down, pick the needle up, put it down, to learn how to play the damn thing. So you could steal riffs, because there was no internet and no, things you could buy or anything like that, really.
I mean, the learning curve on a pedal steel must just be crazy.
It is. And honestly, I tell people I think I stuck with it because A, I was having fun playing, and B, I wasn't accountable to anything else. Wasn't married, wasn't, I was just a musician and just slugging it out. And also at that time it was in Tempe, Arizona, and there's a college here, and the drinking age was 19.
Uh-huh.
So there was a band in every bar because everybody who graduated from high school could drink. So, the college town was full of 20-year-olds, 19 and 20-year-olds, their first time out of the house. So they were out drinking every night. I mean, we would play 5 nights a week. We would get gigs and we go, okay, we're playing at the Sawmill for 2 weeks, 5 nights a week, And they were actually paying currency. I mean, I got paid money to do that. And that's how, as musicians, we could live.
Amazing.
It's a crazy thought. I feel bad for a lot of young people today because they got to go put in an 8-hour shift somewhere and then try to figure out how to rehearse or do a show or promote a show and all that stuff. And they have to do it all on their own. Back then, clubs used to promote the shows.
Mhm.
I mean,
And do going back to the instrument, do because there are so many moving parts and because they're probably really finicky and different, do most pedal steel players have like a monogamy towards like one instrument? Like,
yeah, I think so.
okay.
I've been playing those MSAs because I like the the uh, the way those old pickups sound great. They break up just a little bit. They're not just standard like country-ish sounding thing to me. But and I realized steel guitars were falling out of favor when I decided to play it. You know what I mean? It was like, oh, this was great. Um, but yeah, they and how they work and how they move and their weight. I remembered I played somebody else's GFI and I hit my knee lever and the whole guitar moved across the stage. It was like, oh, because it weighed half as much
Bolted
as
to
the
the
one I've
floor.
been playing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh huh. And, but yeah, it's a thing, that's for sure. And also, like any instrument, you become, if you want to get good at it, or even if you accidentally get good at it, it's because you're kind of a nerd for it. You know what I mean? I had it set up by my bed. I'd get up in the morning, make coffee, start playing. And just trying to figure stuff out. And that was the main gist of what I was doing, because I had to figure out by listening to other records. And I mean, it was like, riffs off of Marshall Tucker records, off of Commander Cody and the Lost Planet Airmen records, all the guys in California that were in like, New Riders of the Purple Sage, Pure Prairie League. They had steel players, but I didn't know what they were doing. So I had to listen to them over and over and over again.
And you weren't the only pedal steel in the area?
No, there was several guys, really good guys. And,
Yeah.
but like I said, those guys were working and nobody was really teaching. So it was a, kind of like a good luck thing, here you go. Here's your steel guitar. Good luck.
Did you have a pedal steel hero back then? Or was it just like, I got this thing and I used to play banjo and I'm pretty good at it because I've been practicing a lot?
Yeah, I think my two heroes were probably Al Perkins he played a lot on the New Riders. He played a lot on I think he did some with the Birds. He did a lot of West Coast stuff. And then my complete crazy favorite was Lucky Oceans, who played with the old Sleep at the Wheel. He lives in Perth, Australia now, and he has like a really hot band that plays out there. I don't know why he moved to Perth, but
why wouldn't you? Yeah.
Well, there is that, but he did a long time ago. I mean, he stopped playing for them a long time ago and moved out there. Probably some woman, I would think.
Yeah, possibly.
But he was really good. All those guys were really good.
Yeah.
It was a thing, but it's definitely kind of a culty thing or something, I would think, and everybody's a little off.
You care to elaborate on that?
Well, it's a kind of a mad scientist thing. So it's like a little, I did that interview for you guys with Bud Isaacs, and he kind of invented the pedal thing on it. And his was he screwed a hinge to the bottom of a leg on a table steel and drilled a hole in the headstock and then ran like a hanger up there and hooked the wire over one of the strings, and then he had to just listen to it while he pushed down on the hinge, and there wasn't a stop, it wasn't a tunable stop, so he had to actually listen to pitch, and you just think about like what a mad scientist he was to even think about attempting something like that. Like, how could I do that? You know what I mean? Who would think of something like that? And most of those guys back then were like, I don't know, engineers that never saw a college,
Yeah. I somewhere on some audio file on this computer, I have Ry Cooder in an interview saying that kind of warning saying like, oh, that pedal steel, it'll drive a man insane.
Yeah.
I forget if who he was talking about. It was Spade Cooley or someone, but
yeah. I think he's correct. I know I'm insane, but and a lot of the steel players I know, friends and acquaintances, they're all a little. There's just something going on there.
Yeah. Did you ever feel the urge or the need to leave Arizona? Or
I kept getting told I should go to Austin or go to Nashville or go do something, but my situation would change here and it would get better musically,
Mm-hmm.
And so I did really well because I stayed here. I ended up touring with the Grievous Angels during the alt country time, and I've been on over like 90 of those records, those alt country records that were out of Chicago and out of other places, because I toured with those guys. I mean, we slogged around in a van and it was brutal, but I was younger then, and people saw me play and would literally come up and say, "Hey, man, would you play on my record? Would you play on my record?" So I ended up doing that, and it was because I stayed in Phoenix, played with that band, and we got a deal on Bloodshot back in the early mid '90s, somewhere in the, and then I ended up. That's how I met Neko. That's how I met Sally Timms, and then it just all it all just ballooned out from there.
Incredible. Did you meet Neko? I should remember this. I just read her memoir. I guess I just jumped to the page I was mentioned in. Did you guys meet in Chicago or Arizona?
I just started reading it, so I'm about 10 pages.
I got a sentence. It made my day.
So. Oh, that's awesome. Somebody told me they saw my name in there. I'm like,
of course.
I thought she was talking about when she was really young. I wasn't around then, but yeah. I met her. She was, well, she had done the Virginian and then was working on Furnace Room Lullaby. And at that same time, I was doing stuff with all the Bloodshot artists, So I was playing with Grievous Angels, working with Old 97s, working with Sally Timms, Waco Brothers, all those guys. And I was in town. She ended up moving to Chicago because she couldn't afford to live in Seattle anymore. They kind of shoved her out of there. So she was laying on Rob Miller's couch, sleeping there. And because he was a Bloodshot label guy, but she was on a label in Canada. She was on Mint, and it was being distributed by Bloodshot. And then I was there for a couple of weeks, working on some records there. I think I was doing the Sally Timms record and a couple other things, but I was sleeping on the other couch. So we ended up being friends and hanging out, and she asked me to do a recording, and it was the first thing I did with her. I think it was in '98 or '99 when we recorded it. I think it came out in 2000, but it was for that Bloodshot compilation. It was that song called Favorite, and it's the first song she ever wrote completely by herself. And it was her, me, Tom Ray played bass, and Andrew Bird played violin. And I think Bird was just kind of starting to break out a little bit with the Bowl of Fire. So, nobody really knew who any of us were, kind of. But, yeah.
It's awesome.
And then later on that year, she asked me to go on tour with her, and I did. So, and I've been playing with her ever since. I even just did her new record that she just finished, but I just can't. I'm too effed up to slog around and tour anymore.
We'll talk about that in a bit. It's not because of the alcohol you mentioned either back in the day.
Yeah, it wasn't that. Yeah. Well, who knows?
Oh, the after effects. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I mean, when you've been on like all, an Americana alt country, the whole No Depression thing, that was like a huge steel, and you were a big part of that sound.
Yeah.
When these bands would hire you, did they know what they wanted you to do, or would they just be like, oh, and then do the pedal steel thing in the middle there?
That was mostly, it was that. Because, because nobody, especially at that time, because none of those guys were country players. They were rock players that were doing country music, or
Yeah.
you know what I mean. Which there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not slagging that at all. It was my life too. I was trying really hard not to sound country, but the second you do that bend, oh yeah, do that high lonesome thing, do that. So there was a lot of that going on. But it was fun. I mean, I really wish I would have paid more attention to what I was getting to do, because it was just flying by. I mean,
Now, yeah, and while you're hanging out with these like hipster indie kids from Chicago trying to sound country-ish, do you also have one foot over in the like, I'm going to go to the annual steel guitar convention and hang out with the octogenarians?
A little. Those were hard. I remember Fender, actually, I became a Fender artist, and they sent me one year, I think it was 2008. They sent me and Tommy Connell to the steel guitar convention in St. Louis, and had us play their Steel King and their Jazz King amps in the Fender room.
I was going to ask, what was Fender offering in 2008 that would appeal to a pedal steel crowd? Yeah,
and it was that Steel King, which is a killer amp, and they only had them for a couple years. I wish I could find one, but I don't need another amp, literally, especially a heavy one. It was killer for me. I mean, I was like, oh my God, I got to see so many really good people. I could name a bunch of them that nobody would know, but it was great. It was really good. And, while we were playing in there, I think his name, Jack Carson, did he do the Strat, right?
Yeah, I think so.
He came in and wanted to sit in with us. And I'm like, well, hell yeah. And then Bobby Kofer, who was a steel guitar player for Spade Cooley and Bob Wills, he came in and he wanted to play. Well, of course. And then somebody leaned over and told me those two guys, Jack Carson and Bobby Kofer, hadn't seen each other since they were playing in Spade Cooley's band back in the day. And I was like, wow, this is absolutely a moment here, So it was pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Amazing.
But yeah, so I did work. I did try to get some of those regular steel guitar things, because that's recording anywhere is that's definitely a bread and butter. Like, somebody's got a new country song and they want some stuff, and did a lot of that too. I mean, there was I'm really bad with names, man. There's this producer, Jim Kaufman. I can remember his name, but I did a song for some guy that I did the whole intro on steel, and it was this really country-ish, cool sounding thing. And he was a British guy, ended up #1 on the charts in the UK, and #2 in Australia, and #2 in Japan, and all this stuff. And that was just something I, emailed to this guy. He sent me a track, and I recorded it and then sent it to him. And then all of a sudden I'm getting these congratulatory emails. I'm like, Jesus, what the, so
wow.
It's a weird ass existence, man. It really is.
All right. I have one more question about the pedal steel annual. Okay. Is it annual convention?
Yeah, there's several of them. There's the St. Louis one. There's one out here. There's a Southwest one. There's a Texas one. There's a Nashville one. It's like, yeah.
I guess, arguably the Fretboard Summit in Chicago is a guitar convention of sorts. And we have to have like a guitar check. Do pedal steel players all lug their overweight pedal steel to the pedal steel convention, even if they're just like there to see it all? Does everyone bring
I don't know. The ones I've gone to where I wasn't playing, I didn't.
Okay.
I didn't lug my steel. But if I was playing, I I did the Southwest one time, and the one in St. Louis. But I would actually go to these things without my steel guitar, just to you know just to absorb the the what do you call it, the mojo from these guys. It's hard. I mean, just getting to sit and talk to Bud Isaacs was like elevated my steel guitar brain up a bit. So I just tried to, and it's hard because I don't like to fanboy anybody, because I don't want to find out they're not a great person or anything like that. So I try not to, like, dude, you changed my life, that kind of stuff. It was great that I had a reason to talk to Bud to do that article, but the it's a way to just absorb info, and I don't know what you would call it, just vibe from people.
Is it hard on the body being hunched over like that?
I think so. I think it's screwed up my back. I think it really has, and it didn't help with my delicate condition. So I'm still playing, and I get some help now. Some of the bands I'm in, everybody's very considerate of me, and like, here, let me grab that. Let me grab that. It's really hard for me to let go of that, because I'm the one who picked to play this heavy ass thing. And
I'm just thinking like ergonomics, like people now have these like stand-up desks for their computers to be at the perfect posture. But I don't think when you take up pedal steel, you're thinking much about posture.
No, I never did. And now I play like Quasimodo, kind of look like him too.
When you do these tracks, like you said, for the British guy or the Australian guy, like, is that just like a flat fee thing, or do you then get residual checks when
it's a flat fee? It's like, however much I'm charging, and it's usually pretty good. I'm not complaining, and I don't anyway. I don't know how people consider they're part of they should get part of publishing or writing or anything like that. I mean, the stuff that Neko has included me on songwriting and stuff like that was things I did not expect. Like, she gave me songwriting credit on Wish I Was the Moon, and all that was she had that song to finish so she could finish her record. And she was in LA going through to Tucson, and she called me and said, "Can I swing by? I'm trying to finish the song. I can't figure this thing out." I'm like, "All right, yeah." And then so she came by, and she's like, "I get to hear in this F." And then I'm like, "Well, why don't you just F minor right there?" And I did. She's like, "That's perfect." That's all I did. And I did not consider that being a songwriter or whatever, but she gave me songwriting credit on that, and I get money from that. But I mean, if you are sitting there with someone working out a song and figuring it out, of course you deserve that. Yeah. But just that little, like, just so we can get on with this here, play that chord there, fucking boom. It's just a completely different thing.
And you guys have had this incredibly long and fruitful relationship, but I'm guessing 9 times out of 10, the pedal steel guy is kind of the last person who enters the room when a song is being written or being fleshed out. So
because it's usually it's usually like icing on the cake. My instance, though, is I did a lot of like guitar for her and rhythm guitar, and it was always like when we'd go to rehearse a song. I'm one of those guys who like, okay, who's actually playing the song? You know what I mean? Like, it's got to be somebody playing the song, so I'll do that. So I'll play the guitar and just rough through chords that I don't think are going to end up on the record, but it's just so we can lay down what you would call scratch tracks, and get everything laid out. And then some of that, I mean, I even do that on my own records. I'm like, okay, I need to do that and sing this song, and then that gets taken off because nobody wants to hear that, And, and I mean, out there somewhere, we did. I was telling this to somebody the other day. We did "Diamonds Are Forever," that song. And I was doing a version of that. And to get everybody, and we were working in Wave Lab, 16 track machine. That's all we had. And I was using way more than that. I was using horns and the whole thing. So I was the only one who kind of knew the song. So out there's a version somewhere. I remember hearing it then, but of me singing the song, and kind of goulaying it up a little bit. Because I knew that track was going to come off. But of course, the engineer did a quick burn of that. So that's out there somewhere. I don't know where it is, but
well, we've been saving it for episode 500. No, just
there
kidding.
You go. And I never did finish fleshing out that song. So those tracks are laying around somewhere too. But yeah, it just depends on your I mean, most of the stuff that I get to do for other people, it's done or close to done, and they just want steel guitar on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, which is great because that way I know when not to play. Like the guy's singing there, don't play, or just pad the chords or something. Instead of like riffing over vocals, riffing over other people's stuff. And it's better when you're doing something that's as distinct as steel guitar, to me, to have that there so you can play around. So you don't, just crush everybody or whatever.
I mean, is it actually easier? You said now you're just kind of like emailing in your contribution just for simplicity's sake. Yeah. Is that actually kind of easier as the pedal steel player to do that versus like lugging everything to the studio and then just sitting around?
I have one. I have like my own little rig here, and I have one that's just set up all the time.
Yeah.
I also do. It is the hardest part about that is being your own engineer with finger picks on and trying to move a mouse and, trying to do all that shit. It's like, So I do have a studio that I work out of called Sonic Piranha where I Darren Baum's great engineer, and and it's flat level. I can roll right up, roll my shit in, and it's not up on the third floor or anything.
Yeah,
and I can just play it and then get out of there. Yeah, so I do a lot of stuff over there too, and make records over there too. But yeah.
You've made how many records under your own name?
Wow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Man, it's got to be 7 or 8.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of them is me and Blaine.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and then me and Eric Bachman, we did an instrumental record too. So yeah. So there's a lot of my nonsense out there.
What do you remember about recording Homie's Parade?
That was one we, believe it or not, we were thinking about it. Me and Tommy were playing Austin. We were playing South by Southwest with my band. So we'd kind of like dicked around with that, just that little scenario of it. Mm-hmm. And then so when we came back, got in the house, and I was like, let me call Will Lovell, rest in peace, love that guy, to play bass. And then so we got him over to the house, and I had an old mini disc recorder. Remember those?
Mm-hmm.
It was like in a really good mic. So we sat there and worked the song up, and while we were working the song up, I would move the mic around to where nobody was overdriving anybody else. Kind of. I'm not like this genius engineer or anything. And then we cut that track, and then I can't remember who played drums on that. I think it was either Kevin O'Donnell or John Convertino, but I had them add the drums afterwards. And trying to figure out names, I just like go with what's around me. And there used to be a gumball machine that would spit out these little homies, little figurines, like little bitty homie guys.
I remember those.
Yeah. Okay. So there was a great, and we'd always go to, when we were recording or doing anything, we'd go up to Rosita's up the street, this Mexican food place.
I've been there with you. Yes.
Yes, exactly. It's amazing. They had one of those gumball machines. So we would do that every time. So I had like about 6 of those guys lined up, just sitting on a table, and I was like, oh, "That's a homies parade." And there you go. You know.
Wow. Now we know.
Yeah, the deep insights.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you've had a tough health battle as of late, right?
Yeah. I got we were like right before COVID got declared and they shut down the world. We were scheduled to do like 3 tours. We had 3 tours lined up with Neko, and I think one of them was even like two weeks after that, 2 or 3 weeks after the day that they closed the world down. And so they did that. So we were off till whenever we could come back. And later that year, I got this really bad pain. Didn't know what it was. Took me like 3 months to find out what it was. And it was, I had, I hate saying this because it sounds so bad, 4th stage metastatic prostate cancer. And one of a lymph node had swollen up into my sciatic nerve. I couldn't move. I couldn't get up. I had to have Jen help me out of bed. It was just so bad. But when they did find that, the lady in radiology goes, "Oh, I got you. I can radiate that, and you'll feel better in a couple of days." I'm like, "Yeah, right. Well, I did, but I do have all of the damage that the cancer drugs did, So I walk with a cane now. I have a completely different gait. I don't have a lot of stamina. Lost muscle mass, just the whole thing. I'm okay. But like I said, I have this thing called adrenal insufficiency now because the medication that they use to stop the cancer, which it stopped it. It isn't going anywhere. It isn't getting better. It isn't getting worse. But that medication ruined my adrenal glands. So I have to take hydrocortisone a bunch during the day just so I don't like crash, and have to do this stupid injection and go to the emergency room.
But as of right now, like the medicine's stopped the growth and the numbers are looking okay and all that
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah. Well, I can give you. I go in tomorrow. Oh wait, no, I go in Wednesday and get my numbers checked again, so I can give you an update if you need it.
Well, I hope you're okay.
Yeah, I do too. The numbers for the cancer have all been okay. The other thing is it. I didn't realize what your hormones, i.e. your adrenaline glands and all those things, what that controlled. It controls your blood pressure, your blood sugar, your body temperature, all these things. So that's the thing I'm battling with the most. It's like, oh wow, I'm sitting here and all of a sudden I'm flop sweating and it's like, something's effed up. So, but I'm getting it dialed in. The hardest thing is getting a consistent doctor, because um, like I see a new endocrinologist in a couple of weeks, and he's the guy who's looks, or she, I don't even know if it's a man or a woman, but they look over the that part of what I've got, the adrenaline and all that stuff. So we'll see. I mean, but I've had doctors like, just quit being a doctor or quit. I've had like 3 of those, like not like I had a great endocrinologist, this lady, and she's like, nah, I had a baby, I'm done. I'm like, no, and then
Yeah.
when you try to look for another one, you can't see them for like 4 months. They're booked like that,
Yeah.
4 months out. And then another, uh, uh, another guy, like I was calling to get an appointment with him, and the lady called me to give me an appointment, and I missed the phone call. Called back and said, "Hey, I heard your message. I want to make that appointment." She's like, "Well, since yesterday and today, that doctor has quit." God damn. So
Wow. It's worse than
I'm
the
currently
music
right now
biz.
yeah, I know. I'm currently right now looking for another um, neuro guy.
Wow.
neurological
Yeah,
guy.
that's like a full-time job if you let it be. Yeah.
Oh man, I just got, I'm really lucky. I have Jen as a patient advocate, and my daughter Mary
Yeah.
as is a patient advocate too. So they both go with me whenever I go places, and they remember, because the first thing out of my mouth is something, "How you doing?" "Ah, I'm great." And then they're like, "Wait a minute."
You want the real answer or
Yeah,
the
my wife goes, "No, he's not."
at what point so you decided to start your own podcast at some point in this journey.
Yes,
Was that
yes.
like because you couldn't work and you were just like, I got to do something? Or
It was during the first part of COVID.
oh, it was COVID. Yeah, of course. Then we had COVID. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. What do I got here? Zoom. Oh, I don't want that. Whatever that is. You still there?
Yeah.
Okay. I had something come up beeping, and all the video went away. Yeah, I had all this crazy information from touring and all this stuff, and know all these people that are that do so many things, but it's music. So I was like, well, how about I let people know that just because you're not a rock star or whatever, because I never was. I was always side guy.
Yeah.
You know, that there's a million ways to be in the music business. And so the what's going on here? I don't know. Oh, well. You can still see me?
You're frozen, but I can still hear you.
Okay. I don't. Yeah, I know. I don't know why that's going on. What is that? Oh,
There you are.
oh.
Now
Okay.
you're
There.
moving again.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No. Somebody tried calling me or something. I don't know how to deal with that stuff. Yeah, but so um, that's why I called the podcast "The Musician's Guide to Everything," and I just talked to all these people that are in the business, and because you kind of have to do everything now, you got to be a promoter, you got to run your own sound half the time, you got to do all this stuff. So we ended up. I did it with Blaine Long, who's a great musician, great singer. He was on The Voice,
Yeah.
and we've been playing a lot. Haven't been playing a lot lately just because of my craziness, but we're working on a second record. But we decided to do this, and so I just started talking to people I knew, and I got like sound guys, um, guitar makers, guitar techs, other steel players, other players, just anybody coming through. I even got Billy Bob Thornton's in it. Jacob Dylan did it. John Doe did it. It was just, I would just say, "Hey, would you want to do the podcast?" And they're all like, "Yeah." So I've been having a blast doing it because of talking. And a lot of them are local guys around here that are just freaking legendary.
You got the definitive Donnie Wade interview, which goes on for
Dude,
like 3 hours. I mean,
it's
I've been
3 hours,
trying
and
to
we
interview that guy
only got up
forever.
to like 1987.
Yeah.
We're going to have to do a part 2.
For folks listening to this, Donnie Wade was a legend at Fender and Gretsch and just a Texas guitar hero. And now his son, Travis, is building beautiful acoustics.
Yeah. And it's funny because, he would say stuff. Yeah, well, he called me up and told me to come down to Fort Worth, down to the Norma Dome or whatever, and work on Jimmy's guitar. And I'm like, "Jimmy who?" He's like, "Jimmy Page." What? No. So yeah, he's that guy, and he has a million of those stories, and they're just freaking wonderful, man.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it's been a great joy for me to do, and I think we're in the 50s,
Yeah,
50 something podcasts or something, and yeah, and I get a lot out of the info and just the meeting some of these people and hanging with some of these people.
And how did you and Blaine Long meet? Because
That's
he's not in your typical Bloodshot Records.
No.
Played South by Southwest for a decade over.
Well, it's the one reason I keep on Facebook is because he contacted me on Facebook Messenger one year, and I didn't know him. He's like, "Hey, I don't know you. My name's Blaine Long. I wanted to know if you want to do a New Year's Eve gig at Tarbell's, which is a crazy good restaurant." And I'm like, "Yeah," and I know Mark Tarbell, and he's like, "You want to do a a New Year's Eve gig at this restaurant. I'm like, fuck yeah. And I'd heard about Blaine because he had been on The Voice,
Mm-hmm.
and he's a great musician, a great songwriter, and a great player, just fun as hell to be with. And but I didn't know him, so and then he started getting kind of nervous before that, and he had a private party. He's like, "Hey, I got a private party, Christmas party. You want to come and do that so we can see if this works out?" I'm like, "Yeah, yeah," and we did. And we've been playing ever since, playing together ever since. But yeah, and he wasn't the normal guy that was on that show. He's got a really good voice, and somebody heard him and was like, this guy should be on there. So he didn't do all those auditions and stuff. He went and talked to him one time, and they put him on the show.
Like these shows are rigged.
No, did I just say that? No. Yeah.
You kind of
no.
did.
Yeah, that's it. I'm not watching that again.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, it's and we made this really fun record a couple years ago, and came out a year ago, I guess, or something, and it did well. As far as nothing does great anymore, nobody makes any money, but it was great. So we're working on another one right now.
Okay.
Yeah,
that'll be fun.
Yeah, it's turning out fun, and I'm doing an instrumental record too, like my old cartoon stuff. Got to do
Are
that.
you?
Yeah. I got about 9 songs that I'm working on, just trying to put them together, figure out who to play on them and stuff like that.
You just do you have it's just all dialed in at home? You don't even have to leave the house, or do you go to a studio?
No, I'm gonna do it at the studio, but I just demo them out here, and also I'm just working on the songs, and I'll get like the other player, dang it, the guy from the Mim.
The guy from the Mim.
Yeah.
Rich
Walter.
Yeah.
He's a killer mandolin player, so I'm going to get him to play on it.
You got the guy who wears a suit and is the curator at MIM to play cartoon music?
Yes, I did.
Okay, good. You're doing the Lord's work.
I'm trying. They're fighting me all the way, but I'm trying. Yeah.
Is this cartoon music that actually like the legendary cartoon music like Raymond Scott, or are you doing your interpretation?
It's just my instrumental weirdness,
okay.
that I'm working on. So yeah, there's some bluegrass in there. There's some swing in there. There's some steel guitar nonsense. It's just, my bizarroness.
I love that.
Yeah, I do too. It's what I lean towards. So I do all this other stuff for other people, and then, I just lean toward that stuff. I mean, every time. The other day I had my daughter, my granddaughter, we were watching Barn Builders, because I can only watch stuff that doesn't have scary music on it. When I got my she's 7, and she's like, if I'm watching like even 2020 where somebody's been hacked up or something, she'll be like, Papa, we can't watch those TV shows that have that kind of music. So I watch Barn Builders and old TV shows and stuff. And we watched an episode of Barn Builder, and then we were done with it. And she goes, "Hey, Papa, can we watch Perry Mason?" And I went, "Yeah." And then she walks around the house going, da, 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 da.
That's amazing.
I know. I didn't realize I watched that much Perry Mason.
That's like a grandparent achievement unlocked.
I know.
Yeah. You leveled up.
Exactly, man.
Wow. Very cool.
Yeah.
So, you still playing a lot, like just for fun?
Yeah. I'm in like 1, 2, 3, sometimes 4 different bands. And one of them's this giant band that's like 13 pieces, and there's this guy who's a real estate developer. So he pays everybody really well. But the band is just a bunch of ringers, and it's really good. I mean, it's got like the old drummer from Glenn Campbell's band. It's got 2 guys from Lyle Lovett's band. It's got one of the guys who plays with Nils Lofgren, me. Everybody's just shit hot. So there's no they call these rehearsals, and we're like, okay, and he pays us to rehearse too, but he calls these rehearsals, and they just look at a sheet or whatever, and then we try the song, and it sounds as good as the song ever did. It'd be like a cover tune or whatever, but it sounds instantly as good as the song.
Wait, and this guy, the ringleader with the money,
Yeah.
he's the front. He's singing and playing guitar.
He does some of them. He plays guitar and sings.
Okay.
But there are like 5 people in the band that sing too.
Okay.
Like, Betsy Gans from the Sun Punchers, she's in it. She sings. And Megan Neff, violin player, she sings. And a couple of dudes sing. But it's crazy. It's so much fun. So we do, maybe 4 or 5 of those a month until summer comes along, and then he goes to San Diego and hangs out. But
these are private shows, or anyone can see these?
A lot of them are fundraisers that are at bars and clubs and stuff like that. And then a good half of them are that, and then the other half are like we did a fundraiser for Hospice of the Valley, and those you have to pay like hundreds of dollars a plate. It's donations for stuff like that. So we go do those, and he donates the band to them. He pays for the band, and he donates the band. And it's really fun. It's and like we do Run It on Empty, so I get to do that. And it's really killer. And then I play with the Sun Punchers. And also with my buddy Norm Pratt, who we've been playing since we were 20, and we just do duos around. And then Blaine. Once I got a gig with Blaine on the next Tuesday. So yeah.
And as a pedal steel player, do you even? You just mentioned Run on Empty, which is why I'm bringing this up. Do you bother with a lap steel, or is that like below you?
It's not below me. I do play lap steel on stuff.
Yeah,
but I know how to play steel guitar so well, and I hate to say that, but I just do, because I've been playing it. I'm 67. I've been playing it since I was 18 or 19.
Yeah.
So I know how to. I learned how to play all those songs on it. So why reinvent the wheel?
Yeah.
I have a nice little Fairfield circuitry barbershop that breaks up just nice and sounds like David Lindley stuff, and I just click that on and go for it,
And use the laps or the pedal steel.
Yes. Yeah. It's a thing, man.
Yeah. John.
Yeah.
How can people support you? You just mentioned, besides, unless there's some hotshot neurologist in the greater Phoenix area listening to this, you mentioned that nobody's making money. You're doing all these shows that most of us who don't live in Arizona aren't going to be able to see. Like, what's the best? What brings in the most income from the outside world?
Social Security now. We'll see how that goes. I can't believe I'm as old as I am now, but I don't know, man. You can't really buy music anymore. You can download it, but when you can listen to it for nothing, why would you? I honestly don't know. I really. Truly, that's a conundrum of a question.
You don't have Bandcamp or anything?
I do. I have songs up on Bandcamp, some singles that I did, and then I do have. I mean, all my stuff is on, someplace downloadable, I think, but I don't know where those places are. I put it up on TuneCore, and they put it out there. So, and most of that's streaming, So, what are you going to do? I get like these weird little, $70 checks from this guy and $60 checks per year, from this guy for, my stuff getting streamed in the tens of thousands, which it does, but it doesn't really pay. So, but it's fine. I still do it. I'm trying to figure out like, I would, the age old thing. It's so competitive with everybody. Any way there is to make money is really competitive. Yeah. Like trying to get movie music and stuff like that. That's really hard. So, but, if you get the right song, you write that hit, then you're golden.
Well, I'll let you get to that.
All right, yeah, I do have oh, Donnie Wade loaned me a 1960 Epiphone Zephyr,
Ooh,
so it's
nice.
friggin' beautiful. And he was like, I got to show you guys this guitar, and he shows it to me and Joe Valley, who's guitar tech for the Doobie Brothers. We were having lunch with Donnie, and he brings that guitar over, and he's like, "You want to borrow it for anything?" I'm like, "Well, I am recording this guitar song. That would be nice." And he's like, "Here, take it." And I'm like, "No, I'll come and get it." He's like, "No, I don't know when I'll see you again. Take it." So it's like a $4,000 guitar. I'm like, "What the hell?" But it sounds beautiful. So we'll see how the song turns out. Maybe that's the one.
Yeah. Yeah, we didn't even get into, you used to work for Roberto Venn too, right?
Yeah, I did. I didn't build, but I was in the office,
Yeah.
And my old buddy Jon Rauhouse, who's one of the main dudes there, he built my Hawaiian guitar, that Wiesenborn style guitar that I
Yeah.
play, which
What
has been on
era
a
were
million
you at
records.
Roberto Venn?
Oh, late '90s, mid to
Oh,
late '90s. Yeah, that was a tough job to leave because it was a great job to have, and you had X amount of work to do. It was a full time. They paid me full time, but you had X amount of work to do. So if you could get it done, then you could go do whatever else you wanted to do. So
hmm.
if you ever need to get your, emissions tested or any of that kind of crap or whatever, you can just do it while you're work. Because it's like, I got my stack of shit done. So when I just started touring with Neko all the time, and I'm like, look, you guys, the stuff I'm doing for you is not going to get done. You got to hire somebody. So I had to leave, and I was sad about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The world of guitar is way more laid back if you're not trying to build the next great guitar.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's a tough call because a lot of great guitars are old guitars, So you're like, you know, I would like to. Oh man, I can't remember anybody's name. I played a Swope guitar. That was a really nice guitar.
Mm-hmm.
And who's the guy in Portland that builds those really nice electric guitars that have the big hump up here? Like
Saul Cole?
yes,
Yeah.
I'd love to get my hands on one of those just to hear it and play it. Those are beautiful guitars.
They are.
Yeah.
Is there anyone trying to build like the Rivian, the new state of the art pedal steel now? Like, or is everyone just kind of like, yeah, we kind of peaked. This is
I think MSA started building again a couple years back, and
Okay.
Shoba just started building again. And what they're building looks like exactly what they did build, but those guitars are like $6,000 and $7,000. I do not know how anybody who actually plays can do that. I mean, I'm nervous as hell. I've got this $4,000 fucking Epiphone in my house. It's like, but yeah, there's some great steels out there, though. I mean, the Desert Rose, really nice steel guitar. And who else? Go to one of your local steel guitar shows. You'll see a bunch of them.
There you
Or
go.
talk to Dan Tyak. He'll tell you.
Dan Tyak's here in Washington State.
Yeah.
He would. Yeah.
He's a goodie.
Yeah. Well, I imagine they're like high-end microphones. Everyone thinks that they're going to like
Yeah.
try it out and start a studio or take up
Yeah.
pedal steel, and then 2 years go by and
Uh-huh.
they sell them.
Yeah, I've got my old buddy John Rickard, who is a killer steel guitar player that lives here. He's like if I don't get the call, he gets a call. If he doesn't get the call, I get the call. And he goes back and spends time back in Pittsburgh every year, and he found the exact same guitar I have been playing since 1979, 80. And but it was like a barn find. It was under somebody's bed. It was brand new. But it's from that era. It's like a 70 something, but it's like never been played. And he, of course, had to send me pictures. This was before COVID, and back when I was making money, when I had folding money, and I was like, "Does he want to sell it?" He's like, "Let me see." He came back. Yeah. He wants this, I don't know. He wanted like $1,500. I said, can you get it for 13? He's like, and he did. And then what was great is I knew John was coming back, so I didn't have to have it shipped.
Yeah, that would cost as much as the pedal steel. Yeah.
Yeah. So I just had it. So it's my sit in the house, record with, never have to move it, steel guitar. But it's the exact same guitar, same pedal setup, same knee lever setup, same pickup, same everything. But it's earless, It's beautiful.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So
you have a spare.
Yeah, exactly. I have more than one spare, but we won't talk about my problem.
Okay. Jon, thank you for letting us share your music. Thank you for being our first guinea pig and our most recent guinea pig in this grand experiment. And I can't thank you enough for the friendship, too.
Yeah, no kidding. Thanks for hanging in there with me, man. I really appreciate it. It's been great.
All right, that was my conversation with Jon Rauhouse. I hope you enjoyed it. We will keep the podcast coming. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Podcast@fretboardjournal.com is how you can reach out to me directly.